Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Ms. Skokin. We're going to be looking at the next section, section 1-4, pairs of angles. We're going to start by looking at our objectives, identify adjacent, vertical, complementary, supplementary angles. There's one more type of angle relationship that we're going to be looking at that's not listed. That's called linear pair. We're also going to be finding measures of pairs of angles. You can see our vocabulary: adjacent angles, linear pair, complementary angles, supplementary angles, and vertical angles. I want you to work on questions 1 and 2 of the warm-up independently. You just need to remember to distribute that negative. When you're done with numbers 1 and 2, turn the video back on and we'll work on number 3 and 4 together. Hopefully you didn't have any difficulty with these, so check your answers, and if you have one of the answers incorrect, go back and take a look at the work that's shown here. For number 3, we need to write an algebraic expression for 4 more than twice a number. So just to remember, we're going to let our number be n. Okay, so our number is going to be n. Twice a number is going to be 2 times n. And if we want a number that is 4 more than twice a number, it's going to be 4 more than twice a number. And writing it this way with the 4 more after our twice a number is going to help us out on question number 4, because this time it's less than half a number. So again, if our number is going to be called n, then half a number we can think of as n over 2. 6 less than that is going to be n over 2 minus 6. And you could also write that, if you wanted to, as 1/2 n minus 6. If you have questions about either one of these two, please bring them up in class so we can discuss them. You can see we have a definition box here, pairs of angles, and it says adjacent angles are 2 angles in the same plane with a common vertex and a common side, but no common interior points. So if you look at angles 1 and 2 in the diagram, we have a common vertex and we have a common side. But angles 1 and 2 do not overlap each other. Now we have a special kind of pair of adjacent angles. It's called a linear pair, and this is when we have 2 adjacent angles who form a line. So here's the common vertex, here is the common side, but you can see that they form a line. And that's why we call this one a linear, you can see that word, line, linear pair of angles. So we can see that angles 1 and 2 are adjacent but do not form a linear pair. Angles 3 and 4 are adjacent and they do form a linear pair. On example number 1, we're going to be looking at the pair of angles and saying whether they are adjacent and form a linear pair, or not adjacent. The first pair of angles that we're going to look at are angle AEB and angle BED. So when we look at those 2 angles together, what do we see? There are 2. They do have a common ray or common side, and they do have a common vertex. So they are definitely adjacent. In addition to that, we can see that they form a line. And that means that they are both adjacent and form a linear pair. The next pair of angles we're going to be looking at are angle AEB and angle BEC. All right, so we notice that these 2 also have a common side and also have a common vertex, but they do not form a line. So these are adjacent but not a linear pair. On question C, we're going to look at angle DEC, so DEC, and we're also going to look at angle AEB. Now, these two do share a common vertex right here at point E, but they do not share a common side. And they would form a line with this additional angle BEC, but that means that these two together are not adjacent and do not form a linear pair. On the next page, we have some angle terminology that I know you've heard before. Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So in this picture, we have angle A, which measures 53 degrees, and angle B, which measures 37 degrees. If we add those two measurements together, we get 90 degrees. That makes those two angles complementary. Likewise, we have supplementary angles when they add up to a sum of 180 degrees. And so if we can take two angles such as angle C and angle A, so angle A measures 53 degrees and angle C measures 127 degrees, when we add these two together, we end up with 180 degrees. So angles A and C are complementary. Notice that complementary angles and supplementary angles don't actually have to be adjacent, but usually we do see them as adjacent. All right, in example 2, we are going to be finding the measures of complements and supplements, and this is going to kind of be working backwards. So with A, we want to find the measure of the complement of angle F. The complement of angle F means that when we add F plus its complement together, we end up with 90 degrees. So one way that we can look at this, if we look at this algebraically, is that the measure of the complement is equal to 90 degrees minus the measure of angle F. We know in this case the measure of angle F is given to us in the question, 59 degrees. So we're going to end up with a complement of 31 degrees. Now that we've been able to use that one as an example, we know finding the supplement, of course, means they add up to 180 degrees. We want to find the supplement of angle G, and we're going to go straight for the subtraction. So 180 degrees minus 7x plus 10, which is the measure of angle G, means that we can easily find the measure of the supplement of angle G. And unfortunately, we are not going to be able to find an actual value because we still have this variable x in our expression. But that is a final answer. 170 minus 7x degrees. The next example we have to read carefully. It's a little bit more involved. Let's read it together and then we can start piecing it together. So it says we're looking for the measure of an angle that is 10 more than 3 times the measure of its complement. We want to find the measure of the complement. So I'm going to start out by deciding to use x as the measure of the angle. And that means that the complement is going to be 90 minus x, which is what I've written right here. Okay, so it says an angle is, that means x is equal to 10 more than 3 times the measure of its complement, or 90 minus the measurement of the angle. So now we have one equation with one unknown, and we can solve this. We're going to use the distributive property. We're going to combine like terms. And so we're going to have x over here plus 3x, giving us 4x is equal to 280, and that means we divide both sides by 4 and end up with x is equal to 70. Now remember, our angle is 70, but what we want to find is the measure of the complement. So the measure of the complement is going to be 90 minus our angle measurement, which is 20 degrees. And that is our final answer. Okay, here we've got a real-world application. It says, light passing through a fiber optic cable reflects off the walls in the cable in such a way that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Angles 1 and 3 are complementary, meaning they add up to 90 degrees, and we can kind of see that here because it looks like they make a right angle right there. And angles 2 and 4 are also complementary, also forming a right angle. If the measure of angle 1 is 47 degrees, find the measures of angles 2, 3, and 4. We're going to kind of start out with an easy one right here because we were already told that angles 1 and 2 are congruent, or they have the same measure. So we know that if angle 1 measures 47 degrees, angle 2 measures 47 degrees. And that means we're ready to find the measure of angle 3. Now we know that angles 1 and 3 are complementary. So that means they add up to 90 degrees. And we know that the measure of angle 3 then has to be 90 minus the measure of angle 1. And we plug in for the measure of angle 1, which is 47 degrees, so we know the measure of angle 3 is 43 degrees, subtracting 90 minus 47. Okay, we're going to have another quick one here because we know that angles 2 and 4 are also complementary, so that means that angle 4 has to be congruent to angle 3, and that means that the measure of angle 4 is also 43 degrees. So we found our 3 angle measurements. Okay, something really important that we are going to be using is this other relationship that's called vertical angles. And vertical angles are opposite to each other when you have 2 intersecting lines. So in this case, you can see that we have 2 intersecting lines right here, and when we cross those 2 lines cross, we end up having these angle pairs. So we have angle 1 congruent to angle 3, and we have angle 2 congruent to angle 4. So we know that we use arc marks to indicate congruence. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 arc marks there so that you can see which ones are vertical angles and therefore congruent to one another. Now, on the next example, example number 5, we want to identify the pairs of vertical angles. So remember that when we have this many things going on, this many angles, we have to use 3 points to name our angles. If we take a look at angle HML, first of all, we know that that one is vertical and therefore congruent to the one that is opposite, which is angle JMK. When these 2 lines intersected, another pair of vertical angles was also created, and these are the ones that I'm marking in blue right now. So we know that angle HMJ is going to be congruent to angle LMK. So those are our 2 pairs of vertical angles created by these 2 intersecting lines. That brings us to our practice problems. Remember that in your textbook, you can find the answer to all the odd numbered questions where you find the green A at the end of the exercises. See you in class.